Dicebreaker is one of the biggest mainstream news outlets for tabletop game coverage in the English language. Last year, they began handing out annual tabletop awards to highlight exemplary voices in the scene, and I briefly covered their nominees for Rising Star Designer. Dicebreaker unfortunately doesn't do profiles of these people, so I wanted to dig a bit into their bodies of work to show you why these folks might be considered award-worthy. I'll be doing a brief profile of each creator, pointing out a few things I personally think are neat about their work. I hope it'll give you all some new games to check out. Ashik Aziz is a designer based out of England, and was formerly the host of the Crossed Paths podcast. Aziz's entry into the tabletop scene is the Akaroth campaign setting, a high fantasy world set to be compatible with Pathfinder and D&D 5e. More interesting to me, however, is their most recent project, the GM-less RPG Brambletrek, set in the aforementioned Akaroth mythology. Players will embody mousefolk and embark on thrilling escapades suitable for children and adults. There's not too much detail on Brambletrek just yet, but it appears to be card-based, so one can assume a prompt structure similar to many popular journaling RPGs. And the art is genuinely adorable, potentially a great way to introduce kids to self-guided games. Straight up, I'm friends with Cassie Mothman. We've hung out several times, I've been a playtester for her work, I even ran a game for her, so this is not gonna be an objective review in any way. That said, Cassie Mothman is a queer designer operating out of Missouri, who does everything from game writing to RPG flip-throughs to full-on theatrical actual plays. Their performance of The Wretched won both Best Actual Play Video and Best Dramatic Performance in a Podcast from the Minnesota Web Fest. I was there when she streamed it live and it ripped. Mothman's got a bunch of neat games, but I think their coolest game this year has been Carved by the Garden, a folk horror solo RPG. Inspired by Midsommar and The Witch, Carve takes place on an unsettling walk through the woods, one in which players are slowly subsumed by ancient compulsions. Mothman even recorded a song for the game. It's so sick. Please check Cassie out. DeAngelo Maugé is a Mexican-American writer, designer, and professional game master based out of Phoenix, Arizona. Maugé's breadth of work is vast, ranging from RPG writing and actual play, to owning and operating the site The Geek Life, to interviewing dozens of creatives and performers, including the professional wrestler Rey Mysterio, which is very fun. Maugé's biggest design achievement this year was the release of Emerald Templars, a dark fantasy RPG that seeks to increase representation for dark-skinned heroes in the tabletop space. It operates on a percentile dice system that allows players to increase their combat effectiveness by tapping into their vices and pushing themselves to exhaustion. The artwork alone is a stunning achievement, well worth learning more if you're interested. Flora and Chelsea Sortino are a pair of Maltese tabletop designers and siblings who run the Wanderer's Tome game studio, based out of Gezira. Flora has a background in illustration and design, and Chelsea worked as an architect and project manager. Now both sisters have devoted themselves to tabletop design and publishing, with a host of murder mystery LARPs, the comedic RPG Flabbergasted in 2021, and the Wanderer's Companion portrait sticker book in 2023. Flabbergasted is set in the Roaring Twenties, and has players embody one of 4 social archetypes to either rise through the ranks of a social club, or get yourself into a variety of scandalous situations. Framed as a season of a television program, Flabbergasted is about creating sitcom dilemmas and setting up potential catastrophes for your characters and their reputations, which I genuinely love as a scaffold for role-playing. Fletch Dietrich is a queer Jewish streamer and comedian based out of Brooklyn, New York. Dietrich's early work includes a Stardew Valley/Harvest Moon-inspired 5e adventure, as well as serving as a cast member for the Girls Run These Worlds tabletop production studio. The game that put them on Dicebreaker's radar, I assume, is My Mother's Kitchen, a solo journaling game about guiding your family down through the generations, using recipes from your original cookbook. Drawing from games in the lineage of Anamnesis and Thousand-Year-Old Vampire, My Mother's Kitchen aims to put players in the role of both desperate spirit and family guardian, as you guide your descendants toward breaking the spell that binds you, following prompts and interpreting results from the tarot. It's actually in contention for Dicebreaker's best role-playing game of 2023, so a bunch of people seem to think it's pretty darn good. Lottie and Jack Hazel are an odd entry, because they actually won Dicebreaker's Rising Star Designer Award last year. I reached out for clarification and was told that since the Hazels have only released 2 full games, they still qualify to be in the running for the Rising Star Designer Award, and their previous win does not exclude them from contention. The Birdwood Games team is a married couple based out of Warwickshire, England. Lottie is the creative lead, drawing from her academic background and PhD in creative writing, whereas Jack handles the business side, since his expertise is in consultancy and management. Following the success of their first game, Dog Park, the Hazels have released another canine-themed board game. Forever Home, which debuted in September of this year, has players inhabiting the role of shelter managers, who must rescue, train, and match stray dogs with potential adoptive families in hopes of finding their titular forever home. The game features both advanced options for more tactically minded players, as well as a solo mode, making it an ideal option when you can't get your whole group together. Seb Pines is another designer who was included as a rising star in last year's Tabletop Awards. They're a queer, trans, and disabled game designer, writer, and co-founder of Good Luck Press, operating out of Toronto. Their Curios series is one of their largest works of this year, including both Curios Albrecht Manor and Curios Jasper Park. In these investigative horror games, players will work through various letters, recordings, and other documents to search for the truth behind strange disappearances and mysterious fires. The Curios name is derived from the fact that the game comes with little supplemental materials: letters, photos, blueprints, newspaper clippings. It's a genuinely fascinating concept, something like those hunt-a-killer games you sometimes see advertised, but delivered to you all at once in a professional, compelling package. The Curios series is such a cool concept and appears to have been very well executed. There's absolutely a reason Pines is appearing on this list again. Cinta Posadas is a queer Filipino game designer and artist based out of Manila. Posadas' portfolio is full of artwork: black and white, watercolor, digital ink, comics, and also advertises commissions for game covers, assets, and layout design. In terms of games, Posadas has been in the RPG space since at least 2019, and has a stellar backlog of texts covering subjects from brawling bonsai trees to falling in love with an AI. I actually covered one of their largest games, Navathem's End, last year on my channel, if you're interested in a fresh take on apocalyptic fantasy that combines Blades in the Dark and Apocalypse world mechanics. This year, their Any-nominated system-agnostic dungeon, Hark Says the Frog Magus, received an update and print edition. Frog Magus is an adorable little delve with intricate and clean map design and a cast of amphibians players are sure to love. Barnabas Timoo is a Cypriot educator and founder of Hegemonic Project Games, operating out of Manchester, England. Timothéo's background in international political economics and business administration set him up perfectly for the kinds of games Hegemonic has been lauded for. Their premier title, Hegemony, puts players in the role of various political groups, capitalist, middle, working, and the state, and pits them against each other in a simulation of what it's like to manage an evolving nation. Players will try to build ideological consensus, and the site advertises options to engage in the political theories of socialism, neoliberalism, nationalism, and globalism in order to achieve your objectives. Timothéo actually wrote a dissertation titled "Will China Overtake the US in the Future as a Hegemony?" So it makes sense that these are the kinds of themes his work would engage with. The project raised 600,000 euros during its Kickstarter in November 2021, and boasts several expansions, so it seems like there's absolutely an audience for this style of high-complexity, asymmetrical board game. That's everyone. I hope this profile helps contextualize Dicebreaker's Rising Star nominees and gives you some new creators to love. Links to these designers' social media and game sites will be in the episode description if you'd like to learn more about their work. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in 2024.